Can you not read my mind? Do you not know that's where I want to go? Why were you not reading my mind? New trails to put my feet on. Knew it was Carrymore. Here I am in the day. Just fell in my hole. It does take a certain type of weirdo to enjoy doing this, I suppose. Hello? Is there anybody out there? No matter how long I've lived in this country, the fact that you get a train half an hour up the road and the accents are different. This isn't panning out the way I was anticipating. So I'm now at a different entrance where it takes you down to Lara Lodge here. But it's one of those ones where it is what it is now, so we're just gonna have to deal with it. And a lot of that is just because that part of me that doesn't want to ask for things or put people out or whatever. So the part of me that wished I'd said, "But here, do you mind? I'm actually going to Dungannon Dam, and if you're able to stop somewhere near this particular entrance, that would be absolutely magical." And of course, that part of me that doesn't want to do that, or feels nervous about it, or doesn't want to bother people, or whatever it was, whatever that part is, didn't speak up, or that part dominated and didn't let the other one say something. So the bus driver's just like driving along, just like passing all these other stops, including the closer sort of entrance access to Glenariff Park, and didn't even stop at that one because I didn't even say, because I was like, I already didn't say about the Dungannon Reservoir bit, which is in between the split in the road after Garron, and so ideally I've been halfway between it and the main entrance to Glenariff. But because I didn't even say about stopping at Glenariff, I'm just standing there and he's just like driving on past it too. And then he's like, "Oh, just let me know when you want to get off." So it is what it is. Here we are. It's 11 o'clock and like, this is just fucking gorgeous. All the ramsons along here, bluebells are out, which weren't out the last time I was. They're starting to come out, but they're out in a big way, in the primroses. And when I got up this morning, I was having my coffee, and the swifts are back. And that's just such another little magical part of the seasons and cycles. And this week the house martins returned to the little nook under the roof of the building opposite me that they return to every year without fail, to that one particular sheltered nook that they love. And you know, as much as I love birds, know birds pretty well, like, it still baffles me, like, that they fly all the way from Africa and that some group of them, some family, just know that spot, that particular spot. It's crazy. So yeah, really nice to see house martins back on my street, which is great, and the swift just screech around my street as well, just next to the park and the lakes. So yeah, all those little meaningful things. And then the past few weeks in between my last excursion up onto the Garon Plateau by Carnlough, in between that, you know, the sun has come out and we've had what I call May weather, what I was hoping for from a week off when I booked it. And yeah, the weather is turning, unfortunately. But again, it is what it is. I booked that. I had to fight for that week off because there was people the bosses tried to get me to move it by a month into June. And I was like, no, I've been like so flipping depressed and like just yearning for this week off, and I have plans for it as well. And the weather's not ideal for what my plans are, but I might just go fuck it and just do it anyway. It's so nice. Country roads. Where's one of them? St Mark's flies. St Mark's flies, that we call it, with a wee dangly undercarriage. Haha, we're looking up at those cliff edges up there in the waterfalls. And wow, amazing. So, even though this isn't part of what I planned along here, I'm gonna enjoy this. The smells. It's not too, like, the weather is changing next week, but it's not too bad now. It's just like overcast, but there's still a bit of warmth in the air and the wind's not too cold. So I'll just enjoy this, and this means I'll actually walk through Glenarth, which isn't a bad thing. And I don't think, I'll just have to keep it in mind regarding my timings for, again, the last bus from Garron is like 6:30, just like last time, and I need to absolutely be on that. So I'll just have to factor in this extra mileage and this time into what I had planned. So we'll see. So the plan is to get from Glenarth, hey wood pigeon, to basically walk from Glenarth to Dungonall Reservoir, which is where I'm meant to be, Dungonall Dam, and basically walk from Dungonall Dam up over the hills of the Garon Plateau to Carn Loch. And if I have time, which I probably won't now, was walk round to Glen Arm. Here's another. But I wanted to do this because my plan next week is, this is going to be part of what I want to do next week. But because the weather's looking crappier next week, if I can remove this part as an unknown quantity out of the equation, because I know next week I'll feel so anxious and I'll be self-sabotaging like fuck and wanting to try and find a way to get out of it, and at least doing this today in better weather, know the terrain, it's just a day trip, I'm just do this walk, get a bus train home, and it'll take, you know, a lot of the anxieties out for that part of what I want to do next week. So that it doesn't, because it potentially would have been the anxiety of the unknown that would have tipped the balance, tipped the scales, and then had me not going ahead with it. So that's what today is about. And I had to convince myself not to go to the bar last night, even though it was off today, and I was like trying to go, could I go to the bar and have a few pints and still do this today? No, I couldn't have. I know myself well enough to know that even if I had like 2-3 pints in the bar, I would have come home and had another few cans in the house and would have scuppered this, and then that would have potentially scuppered next week. But yeah, just those sunny evenings, like, just because the winter that we had, it's almost like the sun comes out, you feel like you're never going to see it again, so you sort of like make the most of it. It's like, so in between my last adventure and this adventure, I've had quite a few evenings at the bar, basking in the evening sunshine. There's a wee sign for Lara Lodge. Oh yeah, that's the wee, yeah, okay, that's where I went when I was doing the Moyle Way. Yeah, down that road, takes you down to Waterfoot. I'm going this way. I'm gonna put this away and just settle into this and go, yeah, here I am. It's not what I'd planned, but it is beautiful. Just look at that. Smell wild garlic and this beauty, Campion, I think it's called. But that's the biggest clump of Campion I've seen ever, I think. It's a beautiful, beautiful flower. Yeah, the last time I walked this road and had to go down that road, down to Waterfoot. That was the day that I'd second day in the Moyle Way after drinking tons of whiskey the night before and being so dehydrated, and I was so done. So that walk down to Waterfoot along basically road stretches and then like an old railway line type thing, which otherwise would have been a delightful walk. I was so done. Oh. I feel different now. You know, even though I get those hankerings for the bar, and a lot of that's just for the people. But you know that I can get a train at 9:30. You know, a few years ago, like I just couldn't guarantee that I was going to be able to get a train at 9:30. Because I knew I'd be, you know, drinking the night before, so I know that I can do that. I can say no to those urges. Don't go to the bar, don't drink in the house. Know my tendencies, know myself well enough to know that even having a couple of cans of Guinness is going to lead to more than 2 cans of Guinness. And even just being in Ballymena bus station there, like getting that train took half an hour from York Street train station. And then I was in Ballymena and I was just looking at all the places I could get to. Like even that bus I was on goes through to Cushendun, Carnlough. It's like, well, Cushendun anyway. But yeah, it's like all these big places you can get to on a day. I'm just off today. And it's my birthday tomorrow. So I know I'm going to go to the bar tomorrow night after work. And then off for a week. But just like having a day off, like there's so many times I could have, if I wasn't in the place I was in and doing what I was doing, could have, you know, easily got that half-hour train up to Ballymena, jumped on another bus to all sorts of places, and come back that day and had a great adventure. Like that last day out was amazing. It was just so epic. The positive note in that is I feel like there are pretty like fundamental changes going on, or significant changes that are going on, and even if I'm not patient enough for those changes and wanting to be further along in that journey, if it is a journey, if it is linear, it's maybe not, but there are significant changes, and my hope is the more good things I get into my life, you know, the more I'll squeeze out the things that are more toxic and not really good for me and not beneficial, at least in not a long-term way. Just realise a lot of my things are about instant gratification. Like I've got a wee feeling and I need to sate that feeling straight away. It's like, oh, I've got a wee feeling, I need to go to the bar because I've got the feeling I want to go to the bar, instead of like putting it off and saying no to that child that wants the instant gratification, which gives me like the diuretics, you know, it gives me the small fix and not the bigger fix. There's people drinking pints already. It's 11:15. Jesus. Amazing. So I'm going to be bypassing the waterfalls, or the biggies anyway. Just cutting through. Ooh, big massive tree down. That beastie. Ah, wooden enemies. Wooden enemy are up. Lovely. Oh, that was steep. I'm gonna feed it. When I was in Ballymena bus station, I got that fresh awareness of how only half an hour up the road or up the railway line, just it's all different accents. And I love that about Ireland, like the amount of accents. I think I'm more cognizant of it because I've been reading a book called 32 Words for Field, by Mankin Magan, who died recently. Rest in peace. And I've been aware of this book for a while, I know of him, but I actually started reading it recently because I've been trying to claw back little bits of Gaelic, Irish, and be intentional, try and be focused and really stick at it, not let it just be another one of my fidget spinners that entertains me for a while, but to really try and hang in there. So yeah, so that re-engagement with the Irish language and then reading this book, what a beautiful book. A significant, important book as well. That connection between language and landscape, history and communities, and just even hearing, you know, the different accents in Ballymena and this whole part of the north. And those accents speak to the migrations that have happened, and for a variety of reasons. But yeah, it's fascinating. And there are different ways of speaking, different words that they'll use in sentences, even if it's in English. And so there will be some wee words that will be in there that you'll be like, what the hell is that? But just the way to put sentences together and the words they're familiar with that make sense to them in ways that to a city slicker like me, even though I come from that kind of Ulster Scotsy ancestry, it's still like, what did you just say? I could probably video less as I make my way through Glenarth here and get myself to Dungonal and properly start my adventure there. If only had spoken up, asked the question. Excuse me, Mr. Bus Driver. My plan is to go to Dungonal Reservoir. Which would be the best stop for that? Or could you stop somewhere even handier? I actually just imagined I would potentially hear cuckoo in this area, and I didn't expect right at the beginning. I just heard a raven. I was like, oh, raven, and then just heard the cuckoo. Another visitor from Africa always puts me in mind of my granny in Kultonga Nature Reserve. Amazing, all the bird life. It's just something I've noticed in the mornings, like if you get in some of those nicer mornings there recently, just the vibrancy of the birds, even just in my street, is just so refreshing and healing, and I really, really appreciate it. A very deep appreciation for it. Thank you, cuckoo. Welcome back. The views, oh, Queen of the Glens. The cuckoo in the background. Okay, just did a wee shortcut. Trusted what I was seeing on the map. Take me onto this trail, and then if I follow this track, it should bend around and connect onto the Dungonal Way. It's cool. The fallen giants. Wow. Right, we're on track. You come out of this corridor, and then it's into this amazing habitat. I think I've seen a few wee warblers bouncing around, and you can see just about see the dam over there. And there's a sign for the Dungonal Way. New trails to put my feet on. Oy. Oh, fantastic. Right, this will be nice walking. This is the pre-bog. So I think it's going to be wee tracks through to the reservoir. And then after that it'll be bog. Thick bog. coming to the sweet junction just at a point where I was thinking about this actually, that I could follow this trail right, and I think it'll take me to the main sort of top of the reservoir. A lot of people come in from that way, and it's probably the way I would come in, but I know where I'm wanting to go. I think it's really this other end, this slimmer end of the reservoir, to get up onto these hills here. But we'll have to just get the map out and really assess which the best route is. Yeah, this is something I'm very wary of. So I want to stick to trails as much as possible. And that's why in this area I just kind of want to cover it in one day. Like don't want to actually do any camping in the middle of this, like maybe at the fringes. Maybe I've come in from this way, but I've ended up on that. Yeah, so I've come in from this bit here. But I would ideally have come straight in there. So I've walked through there, and I'm onto this trail now. And I'm having to decide, what is the route that is best for what I have in mind in a grander project. And initially I sort of thought through here and then on the mid-hill in Collin top, but now just looking at the hills from here, like mid-hill just looks way over there, and Collin top's just sitting right there. So I think what I'll do is follow this trail around and then try to connect up to this wall, I assume it is, to take me onto Collin top. That would be brilliant actually, as far as timing goes, because that's just going to cut out a lot of ascent and doing that. So we'll see. I'm going to do that. It's a bit of an exploration anyway, so I have to allow for the fact that I may just go totally Pete tongue, and or it may be brilliant, but that's what I'm going to go for and see what happens. So basically follow this trail that direction, and maybe skirt around that lock and up the top, Collin top. So I'll be that way. See the main reservoir just over here, Dungal. But there's cool, all these little ponds. I think there's a lot of work being done up here just for bog preservation. Look that up on YouTube instead of me explaining it. If I could be bothered, I'll put a wee link up to a wee video that I watched by, I think, NI Water, and the work they've done up here in the Garon Plateau to preserve the bog, keep it in good nick. Yeah, I feel better about the longer I stay on these, even though it's tarmac, but at least a speedy walk in, cover ground quickly, but also the less time I spend on habitat that I don't want to be on, the less battle feel. Just that feeling of new landscapes, somewhere you've never been to, being in fresh trails, tarmac or not, is just magic. I'm seeing the outlines, what looks like a kind of trail over that first little rise, which is reassuring. Absolutely no dogs. Dogs will be shot. It's pretty clear. Right, I'm also noticing that there's no stile there, although I imagine people are squeezing through there. That's what's happening. There's a wee gap here, which must be the access. Right, I don't know if I'll squeeze through there with my pack on easily anyway. Right, that was a gate I didn't mind climbing. Going the other way, it was going to lead to injury. I've done that before. Yeah, that was a solid gate. Ridiculously solid. What will this day hold? Who knows? It's 10 to 1, so got a decent amount of time, and because I'm not anticipating going up over mid-hill, feels like that's going to cut out, well, what feels like an hour's worth. This feels more direct, and I can see the outlines of trails which are probably used by farmers, at least getting over this first wee bit of off-road, which again is reassuring because, you know, if farmers are using that where it's being used, you know, it's staying off the habitats that are being used for nesting. So I'll just try and find the spots that are most worn down, and stick to those. Do no harm. It's the plan. A raven. Another one up there too. Right, this is where I'm trying to find my entry point. We walked along this trail, and then that trail was going uphill as well, so I'm like, I was wanting to take that take me as high as possible. And now it's basically a decision about where to go onto the uplands off trail, and from here on in it descends. So I think this is where I'm going to start walking in. Right, here we go, unexplored off trail, and cloud level's pretty high, and there's no forecast of anything changing in that regard. So, but this is the kind of area where if it was basically white out, low-lying cloud, sea fog rolled in, like this would be not, it would be quite sketchy unless you knew, even if you knew the area pretty well. Right, I'm liking this. I'm seeing actually what look like, I don't know, quad tracks or something. So this looks like our route, and if a quad's been up here, there's another single track there. I might take the single track. They're both going the right direction. So sort of going back on myself a little bit, but I was happy to take that tarmac trail up as high as possible so that there's less incline on off-track bog. Although this is quite dry, and I suppose it has been relatively dry over the past few weeks. Not too much rain. Oh, there's the raven on the ground up there. Class. Just seeing how close I can get to this raven before it takes off. This is looking relatively unperturbed. This is cool though. There it goes. Sorry, buddy. That was awesome. Yeah, and so part of me, you know, I'm aware there's like a kind of revival of Irish language, but it's at least a lot of it's very urban revival. So it's like new Irish words for all the different drugs that people take. But you know, I would love if I could like sort of gain the knowledge and the pronunciations and for the stuff that I experience, because I still love nature and I love being out in nature. I would love to keep those words alive. And there are words that will die because, you know, people had different jobs and worked different ways. And maybe if the world goes to shit, we'll all be back doing those jobs again. But, you know, our lives have changed, but nature's still here. I'm like, so I'm like, I would love to keep those words alive. So we'll see. Have to start at the beginning, and just claw back what I had learned, which wasn't very much. But just claw that back and then add in a couple of fuckle along the way. I'm reassured actually now. It's almost like seeing a gate without a lock on it. I can actually see little tracks taking me up onto a little rise here, and then hopefully from that rise I'll be able to see other tracks that'll then take me up the top of Collin top. Which in the map doesn't look that far away, but right now it's like it looks like way over yonder. But I'm happy to be missing out mid-hill, which looks even way over yonder, over that way. So brightening up, the larks are out. I'm on something that looks like a track, which is easing my conscience. And there's not too much squelch so far, but that's famous last words. That's gonna like end soon. I know, and I didn't even put on my waterproof socks earlier either. Because whenever you've been walking on tarmac, you're like, you're not in the mind for putting on. But like, I'm looking at, like, this is like what would be absolutely mush. And you can see like it's where sheep and all have been. And it's actually even dry. So even these little bits here would be an absolute, yeah. Even the squelchiest looking parts of those. So it has been dry. So who knows? Maybe it will not be as boggy as I anticipated. But come next week, the weather's changing and it'll get back to normal pretty quick. Yeah, and there's still like a wee bit of squelch in some of these bits, but amazing. Gosh, we outcrowd just because I got promontory fort. Class, it's gonna allow me to see the lay of the land. It is amazing. Looking down over Glenara Forest and then the valley that goes out there to Waterfoot. It's all fresh, new. My eyes have never seen these things, these places. There's nobody here as per usual in the Antrim Hills. Nobody. Have it all to myself, me and the raven and the lark and the sheepses and the cuckoo and the warblers. Being like that. But I made an agreement with them that I was going to walk slightly over here and let them come in behind me, which seems to be working. So we came to an agreement. Some of them sheep look like real bruisers. Like. Jeepers. It'd fairly take me on. Oh, lovely. Look at this view. That's why the sheep are all there. Prime real estate. Look at that. Beautiful. Magic. So I'll make my way from here to that, and then along that, the back of that should take me. Take me on to that. She'll take me on to Collin. That'll be amazing. Even if that's all I do today, that'll be fantastic. Oh, right, this way. To annoy some other sheep over there. We just stumbled into sheep land. All up in this wee top outcrop. There's another wee outcrop over there, just totally covered in sheep. Must be the best grass up here, up the tops. I'm going to feel bad for disturbing them. Sorry in advance. There's Dungonal Reservoir. Right. Less yapping. I don't want to disturb these sheep, but it's going to have to happen. So I'll just walk as quietly and calmly as possible. You just come up to the top of the other wee promontory fort. I was just about to say I was lovely walking and my feet are still dry. That was close. Lovely smaller lake there. The other wee rise, wee promontory fort, I'm going to call it. Escarpment. So I'm on top of this one, but it's been nice just walking on what I feel are used trails, either by flocks of sheep or the farmer. Yeah, it makes me feel a bit more at ease about walking through this area, and seeing the track over there looks really definite. It like just cuts up through the brush, the moorland, very clear, right to the summit of Collin Top, which is amazing. So other than the incline, it looks like it's going to be sweet. Right, who's making that noise? Is that the sheep making that noise? Is it barking at me? But it bark sounds like yep, yep. Oh, they're all like ganging up. Jeepers, I think they're going to charge. Created a united front property, like they're sizing me up. Right, I'll try to negotiate my way around here. It's like, I'm going this way. You stay there. Stay here. Oh, this is great. I got to feel so good when I'm at the top of Collin Top. The top of Collin Top. Again, these places have called out to me for so long. They've been seen on a map, and I've been always trying to imagine ways through and never actually getting to explore, either self-sabotaging or creating excuses or creating ideas or narratives that prevent me doing it. And now is the time. And it's the right time, I feel too. I just feel like it's the right time. I feel like as messy as it has been, and as much as there's been difficulty and discomfort and pain and other things along the way, I sort of feel that there's things that are converging at the minute that kind of makes sense of all of that. That's how I feel at the minute. Sometimes I lose sight of that convergence. It feels nice when it comes back, but certainly wasn't feeling it over the last lot of months. But yeah, I've been given a gift of a vision, and it speaks to that convergence of things coming together. So a lot of things that I wish, would have happened sooner, things I'd figured out sooner, all of that, but just have to accept the timing that is there for me. And try not to force things. I have a tendency, I think, to try and force things to heal quicker than the healing that is there for me. I want it to be healed. No, I don't want to wait. I want the McDonald's healing. No, I don't. Actually, now I put it like that, I definitely don't want the fucking McDonald's healing. But in some ways, that's the part of us that wants that instant. Where's remote control? Change the feeling, change the experience. Just zap it away into the next mode. So it looks like it's a fence that goes up there. So I'm basically making my way to the fence, and then I'll follow the fence up. Cool. So I'm going to be in my t-shirt. I'm actually already got my legs rolled up. Not my legs rolled up, that'd be dead funny. Trouser legs rolled up. Imagine rolling up your legs. Yeah, that's the fence I'm going for. And then that goes right up to the summit cairn. Oh, maybe that's not Collin Top, maybe it's a false summit. I'm pretty sure it is. I got my poles out for this ascent. I'm gagging for some water. Yeah, I didn't bring much water, and I know there are wee burns running off these hills, so I'm hoping there's a wee burn on the other side there that I can get some water from. By the time I'm at the top of that, I'm going to be gasping for water. Right, let's go. Hello, is there anybody out there? God, it just feels like there's nobody around. Which is a bit of an illusion, but second piece of rubbish I found. It was Carrymore. Don't buy Carrymore. Imagine being up here, especially when boggy and really shitty wet weather, and your sole falling off. I did have one good pair of Carrymore boots, but I think they have like signature pieces that they still make decently, and then the rest are all crap. Take that with me. Just be who you want to be. It's lovely hearing the bees. And mostly just feel sorry for whoever it was experienced that. Like, I've been really lucky. When my feet have got a wee bit wet actually on the way up there. Like, it is it is really boggy, and this is like the driest it's going to be. Like, I've been so lucky. My feet were probably warmer than they needed to be, so the water going in felt almost refreshing. I've stopped about 4 or 5 times already coming up the side of Collin Top, mostly to do with my lack of fitness. Not even with the poles, so it's hard going, but with the poles it's not hard going that I'm like, oh fuck this. I'm like, it's hard going but the poles are there, and I'm like still actually able to enjoy it in some way, which is like, that's what I love about the hiking pole thing. So even though I'm not really fit for it, they're just helping me be here and enjoy this. And for this ascent, even though it's difficult, just did not, you know, affect my mood in a negative way. And I can see the wee summit cairn, which is just up there. So I may not even need to stop again before I get to that. And then the view's going to open up on the other side of that, which would be amazing, like regardless, because it's just a new view. Like I've looked at this area so many times on the map, trying to figure out, you know, what the ways are, what the routes are, but a lot of the trails are not marked. These are like, you know, some sheep trails, farmer trails, secret trails that nobody knows about, some local hikers might know about. And, so when I'm seeing that forest there, which I think is Collin forest, and it runs right along there, and I'm assuming that's mid-hill up there. That might be Soren's Hill actually, I don't know. But again, I've seen these names on the maps, but just haven't seen it with my own eyes and put my feet on it. And now I'm going to get up to that summit cairn and be able to see the other side and go like, wow, right? Amazing. Sun's still shining down there. It's kind of clouded up here, but I got to have some sunshine, so that was just fantastic. So I'm not going to knock that. Yeah, that's probably the last of the sun. Well, you never know. But anyway, I got to see some sun, and I'm thankful for it. And if it doesn't sun the rest of the day, that's all right. I'm happy. Oh, there it is. Quite an impressive looking little summit cairn. As if it's on top of an old burial mound. Beautiful. Here we are. The top of Collin top for the first time in my life. And getting to see this view is the first time in my life. Over that wee loch, which I can't remember the name of, Dungannon Reservoir. I think this is Collin Forest. And I can see Slamish over there, jutting up. That must be McQuillan's Mountain, formerly known as Agnew's Hill, which means that'll be Salabrae's there, and Scott Hill, and Robin Young Hill over here probably. Incredible. It's kind of clouded up a bit, but there's a lovely kind of light still hitting over that side, and then it's getting some of those Jesus finger rays of light coming down over there. Wow. And now that I'm here, I can then get an idea of, you know, can I do what I wanted to do? And you know, without, you can use maps all you want, but without actual like local knowledge, you know, you just have to be here and actually suss it out yourself. What is doable and what's not doable, because maps are only a representation, and a representation can be a misrepresentation in some ways, because it's just almost like a metaphor for the reality that's on the ground. So you need to take it with a pinch of salt, or to bring your memories from being feet on the ground, feet in the dirt, and bring that to the map. So whenever you can translate what the map's trying to tell you, and imagine what it might look like and what it may not look like. This is to do with, you know, farmers' lands, what's accessible, not accessible, what's permissible, not permissible. You know, are there styles, or is it a fence, and is it a fence that looks like you can get over it without damaging it, or one that is going to be damaged by climbing over it, and all that kind of stuff. So this very moment is a moment that could totally change my vision that I have and my plan, or what I hope for. But it's very provisional anyway, and this is the stuff I need to do in order to figure that stuff out and flesh it out. Is that what the saying is? Flesh it out. Put flesh on it, flesh in the bones. It's lovely just looking out over Slamish there and silhouetted. Some nice light through the haze. It's nice. There's also a cross here. I'll show you in the video, and then I might just after in the edit reference this. But I think it was 3 young farm boys were up here, I think herding sheep or something, and they end up dying, unfortunately, getting from exposure, probably getting stuck in the bogs, or lost and stuck, and all those things. So here's to them. A wee bit annoying. I'm on top of Collin top. I am, oh there we are, looking down there at the forest, and then there, and supposedly there is a stile. Now it would not necessarily be overly useful if it was meant to be on there to take me across, but it might have given me access to that side and take me down to the forest. But there is no stile. And to cross that fence would damage it. Well, more than likely, and I don't want to. My whole thing is I want to be able to find a reasonable way across. You want to be able to do this again and do it like relatively regularly. And for other people who may want to do this as well, I want to find a way that is not sketchy, dodgy, damaging, etc, etc. But my ideal is basically to go along the edge of Cleggan Forest there, and then up on top of Berry Hill. And it would be so incredible for me to get up on top of that, because that is my gateway to Binagee, which is just over there. So yeah, essentially I want to follow the edge of that woodland on top of Berry Hill, and then follow that wee ridge to Binagee, and then down to Garron. It'd be amazing. And honestly, if there was a stile here, that would just be tickety-boo. So that would be so good if there's a stile right there at that wee rusty post over that, and then straight down there along the edge of the forest. It'd be so good. And if I don't do that and I don't find something else, I'm going to have to end up on top of this hill over here with no guarantee that I'll end up getting. Oh, right, what to do. I'm going to be a bad boy and just cross that. And then petition the council. I had to petition the farmer to petition whoever to get a stile put in there. So just when I thought my whole plans had been scuppered, because I just couldn't bring myself to climb over the fence, because everything about there being barbed wire on the top of it says you shouldn't be climbing over this. It's not strong enough for you to be putting your feet in. You end up wrecking it, and then the farmer has to replace it. I just couldn't bring myself to do it, even though I really wanted to go over there. But so it's just looking along the line of the top, and then I see this bit, and it's not barbed wire, so that says to me something different. And then I notice this post, which has intentionally been put in there. I don't know if it was meant to, yeah, it must have been attached at that point there, and another nail, and that would have been, I imagine, a stile. So anyway, it's given me another little bit of access to this bit, which brings me a little bit closer to my route of dreams. What a view, like framed by that stile. Thank you, stile. And I suppose farmer, landowner, who's put it there, even though it's probably accidentally been damaged and made it look less like a stile. But yeah, okay, I'm feeling good. It's funny just that the waves of feelings of like, oh, the hope of like, oh, I really wish I could get there, and then, oh no, I can't, and then I'm gonna have to go over that way, oh, this is not gonna work, and then that's gonna scupper my big vision. Right, so hopefully there's another one down there. Right, come on. Right, it's 2:30, so we've got 4 hours now. Wow, time disappears so quickly. But yeah, if this is plain sailing and it's not boggy, oh, and there's actually no fence on this wee bit here, which is reassuring. I half thought I heard a grouse there while I was yakking. Oh, please, please, please. This would be so sweet. It's not even boggy in this bit. Oh, bliss. So again, come to another fence, but again using my method of the top of that fence is wired with barbed wire. Look at things like, yeah, and even if it was an intentional style, they're not going to put barbed wire there because that would be an absolute health hazard for people getting across it. So, and then looking at this, where this fence doesn't have barbed wire on it, and it looks like this post is there for a particular reason. Now maybe it's not, but I'm in my little narrative and my methodology for trying to find a way through this. This has become an intentional post for me to use to get me down there. But it's not boggy, this is speedy ground, so this is great, so I can cover this quickly as possible, get myself over there to make the ascent of Berry Hill, and that's a fair amount off the ascent there, and then across to Binagee. So should be decently on schedule if nothing goes AWOL. Picking up some rubbish before I cross over to the other side that I just noticed, including a flipping spoon. Like, what the heck? Anyway, that's going in the bag before I cross over here and commit to this. Wee wheat here, meal wheat here. Just landed in the fence there. And it's still there. It was amazing. Thank you, Mr. Wheat here, for just letting me get some shitty footage of you. I appreciate your presence. In other news, like where I crossed over there, like, and if you're doing it in this zone of foot, oh, squelch. If you're doing it in this direction, it's doable. But my gut feeling is that stump is not there to help people cross over. But it was there, and I crossed over it. It was sturdy on that side, but you know, I was having to basically lean on top of the wire fence and then sort of push off and jump. I was just hoping the wire fence wasn't going to sway too much. So yeah, but here we are. The thing is, once you start crossing these things, it's like I could just lead into more and more places that you're not meant to be, and you sort of feel like it wasn't worth your while crossing the first one in the first place. So it just depends how this pans out over here. But still amazing just to be in this, like, again, from the metaphor of the map that I've looked at, gazed at, perused, quizzed for so many years, and actually having the feet on the dirt and get that, the tangible, the reality, to literally put meat in the bones, or to turn the metaphor into reality, see what the map has been trying to say, what it's been saying, what it's not been saying, what is revealed and what is hidden. And my feet are knowing what the reality is, my legs are knowing what the reality is, my eyes, my senses, my nose, my smell, my ears. Not the map reality, not the metaphor, not the rationalization of it, but the embodiment of it. Here I am. It does take a certain type of weirdo to enjoy doing this, a little weirdo like me. God, it's my birthday tomorrow. I do get this growing sense. I'm really aware of this now, and I think that's especially why the winter affected me more there as well. It was like this sense of like running out of time, a greater sense of my finitude. And then, so every, year that slides by, every season that slides by quickly, or quicker than anticipated, and just feels like, what the... What is this terrain I'm walking into? Oh, I hate seeing that. There's more cans, and there's only so much I can take. There's a red-tailed bumblebee. Is there a red-tail? Well, it doesn't look that red, but it's not a buff-tail. What are those? Just spotted them. Almost like wee lanterns. Cool. I'll have to look at it. Okay, well, it looks like there is a walked track. There's somebody or something. This feels like relatively reassuring, and it's not as I thought it was going to be super boggy in here, but actually it's not too bad so far. Famous last words. And yeah, speedy. Feels like speedy progress. Just hope there is a way out on the other side. Yeah. Okay, my socks are definitely wet now. But yeah, I've definitely lucked out regardless of wet feet right now. Oh, there's the other one. Because like compared to what it can be, you know, I've experienced a lot of that with dry feet, which is nuts. So it's infamously boggy. Alright, I'm gonna pay attention. But yeah, sometimes it could just be actually way worse to navigate, like a jungle. But we'll see how it goes. Start to change the scenery as well. All the moss hanging off the tree. Yeah. That's cool. Love that. No. Here I am in the dirt. This fell in my hole. No damage done. Why I need to find water? Right, that's next in the cards. Right, get myself back up and then go on the hunt for water. I'll just stay here for a wee sec, enjoy it. There's the sun coming through. Oh, so nice. Maybe the Lord made me fall just to get me to stop for a second. I appreciate it. God, I literally just stay here for a decent wee while. Stay but up. Right. I've also got a time scale. Right, get you back on there. I think I'm gonna have a few scratches. Moving, emerging from the darkness into the light. Right, there's a ditch and a half here. Right. Oh, this looks like it's getting a wee bit boggier down here. Oh well, my feet are beyond staying dry now. But it's funny enough, like my feet dry out. Well, say dry out. Once they get wet, you only feel that wetness for a minute or something or two, and then your feet are warming up anyway, and it's like sort of forget that they're damp, so you're almost then resenting getting your feet wet again, even though like theoretically they are wet. I already have got wet. Oh, this is still actually boggy shit, so I might go bounce back into the woods here and see if it's okay. Yeah, this is better. Yeah, I like this better than that. Okay, cool. Right, back out from the woods. Some of it was, covering definitely quicker ground than out here, but I got to a point where you're having to stop and push branches out of your way, stop your eyes getting poked out. So anyway, it was nice for a change of scenery, to be honest. Get to experience a little bit of Cleggan forest. And now I'm back out again. I can see Barry Hill is now closer. I can start seeing some potential trails up it on it. Oh yeah, I was so lucked out on how dry it's been. And I'm saying that with the, I'm aware that my feet are wet, but not as wet as they would have been, and getting to have that sunshine. And it's still nice, like still nice. But like that, even like what I stuck my foot in there, if that was like wet, I would have a different body. See, there we go. Like that is, that must be like 3 feet deep, 2 feet deep. And that's where being on your own is like one of those poses Hazy does. Did I tell you about my sponsor? Tell people where you're going. If you're going on your own somewhere, you should tell people where you're going. I've never done that, like rarely. I think I've once or twice. You should do it. You should say, somebody's sending me a message or something saying if I don't get back, if you don't hear from me at 7 o'clock tonight, call somebody. Because something like that, you know, I literally could have just broken my leg there and been in agony and not able to walk anywhere very far, very quickly. Being reduced to a crawl and like somewhere that's pretty out of the way. So yeah, maybe I'll start wising up and start telling people where I'm going. I suppose if you have one of those wee beacons, that's, you know, your other option, but you have to get a subscription for them and all that malarkey. Right, I'm at a Collin Forest. And oh yes, I just realised, yes, there's a wee valley there and I thought maybe there's a river there, because I did see a wee stream trickling down, not very much water in it, through the edge of the forest at the lower end, but luckily it's flowing into a nice looking river down there. And that's Berry Hill here, I'm assuming. And I've been generally following fences, so my instinct is to follow this fence along there and then use that as a guide to take me up the top of Berry Hill. But water, amazing. I don't feel dehydrated, but I know I am dehydrated. And I might, even if the sun's come back out, I might take my other top off and get into my t-shirt. What? Unheard of, amazing. Like, my legs are ripped to shreds. But I'm happy. Oh, yeah. I'm feeling like, yeah, okay, it's like 3:15. Yeah. Yeah, if I get down there, you get water quickly, you get up top of Berry Hill, I think it could take me about 45 minutes. And then I've got about an hour and a half to cover that ground to Binagee and then down to Garron, which I think is doable. I'm not panicking. And say at least the ground has been not really bad. Definitely a workout though in the legs. My goodness, my legs are pumping. It's like not one even piece of ground. Just constant. But this is the stuff that strengthens your legs and your ankles, and yeah, a lot of concentration needed. Watch your foot placements. I'll be so happy to get water from what looks like a nice source as possible. Get a load into me as well, and then the ascent off Berry Hill. But once I've done that, I think that's kind of relatively plain sailing, and then I'll hopefully meet up with a wee track that I didn't actually meet up with the last time I was up there, but it leads in between the two lakes. So if I meet up with that, that's like me straight on, like no detours onto the White Hill Road. Okay, this is where I need to cross then. Right. Okay, just look for the safest place. Right. Oi. Back at it. Cool. So I was in Collin Top, and this is Harry's Burn, you call it? Huh? Harry's Burn. And then actually like Cranny Lock, which then flows down to Cranny Water, where I was the other week. It is right beside it. And there's Berry Hills. Amazing. Be mad just like being on new territory and then looking down over territory that used to be new territory. That'll be cool. So yeah, just a matter of finding a way over here, and like realistically it doesn't look like anything that you're meant to be crossing no styles marked on the map. No parts of that aren't barbed wire along the top of it. I might walk down a little bit there just to see, just in case there's something further down. Doesn't do it justice, but that is gorgeous. Beautiful river, little escarpment, and Slamish in the background, which again you probably can't see. Although what takes away from it is I really don't feel like I'm ought to be here. You know, there wasn't a stile across that fence. I found a place that had a post that was inconveniently placed that allowed me to jump, but the jump was sketchy, especially with the rucksack on. Actually, should have taken the rucksack off for that jump. That was a sketchy one. But I'm on this side now, and it should be just a matter of getting water and then getting up on top of Berry Hill. So bump. I'm in charging mode, so no mics, but literally nearly at the top of Berry Hill. I got water from Harry's burn. Thank you, Harry. That was one of the most beautiful places on earth. Down in that wee burn. And it's the view over Slamish at the edge of the forest, and seeing Slamish there is just incredible. Totally. That'd be like my zombie apocalypse location. No justice done whatsoever. All the textured light that I'm looking at, and although it was a wee bit brighter there 2 seconds ago. Had to come over another fence, and it definitely wasn't a fence I was meant to be coming over. But once you've committed to these things, it's like you've got to get the other side somewhere, and it was sketchy, like, and my heart was thumping because you're imagining all the ways this could go wrong. But yeah, I'm zonked, my legs are done, and again without the poles this would not have happened. And I'm just realising as well, fitness is one of the most important safety aspects of being in the mountains, is be fit for those, you know, extra miles you might have to do when things go wrong or whatever else it is. It's like unexpected terrain, and I suppose realistically I'm actually not mountain fit, and it's without these poles I'd be snookered. Let that be a lesson. I've been doing pull-ups, so I can do 4 pull-ups now, and I've been doing like hanging knee raises and stuff like that, and all those kind of things, just to do something. Have to do something. Getting older, need to look after myself a bit more. Not lose. It's like, feels like it's my final chance to create a healthy lifestyle with some exercise in it. Right, okay, Berry Hill, need to be at it. It's like 4 o'clock now. That's 2 hours pretty much. Then I need to get down to Garron, which should be sweet. Because yeah, Berry Hill, it should be like, oh, just a wee ridge. Just a wee ridge. These are your famous last words. Just a wee simple ridge with no problems whatsoever down to Binagee, and then I'll be straight down to Garron. Okay. Let's see what that actually is going to look like. I believe this is the top of Berry Hill. Small stone cairn of sorts. Yeah, this is where I can see the view all around me now. So it's definitely the top. Right. So I am, I think, heading this direction. Right, so it's just after 4 o'clock. It basically gives me 2 hours, but I think that'll be an hour and a quarter, maybe an hour and a half. So I think I'm in good time, not the one to dilly-dally. And I think I'm going to put off having food until I'm much closer. Like if I get to the top of Binagee and know I've got plenty of time, then I might have food on top of Binagee. Okay, quick update. sun has come out, evening sunlight, amazing. Barry Hill's a bit of a mess as far as like what is the summit. It's just a sprawl. And actually the edge closer to Cranny Lock's just over out of view over here. And the part of it that's closer to that is the part that's most navigable, and I can actually start making out like a quad trail or Landover trail, imagine quad trail, that's been sort of used, and it sort of is cutting along this edge. So I'm going to follow it, and hopefully I'll cover ground quickly towards Binagee. Okay, 4:30. I can see the building from last time, and I found out it's such an interesting story behind it. Glens of Antrim Historical Society had a wee article, and it was actually to do with ammonium and the creation of fertiliser. And there used to be, I think that used to be the staff accommodation. There's all these wee stories connected to it, but one of it is there's the little, almost like a wee tramway type thing. It was just bringing peat down. It was like on a wee sort of circular kind of carry system, just carrying bags essentially. But it was actually, whenever that company went out of business, it was taken, I think, in the 1920s, 1930s, and they ended up at St Bees in England, which is the beginning, I think, of the Coast to Coast Trail. So interesting little connection to that. Well, yeah, it's mad now here now looking at that, and I'm now in that territory on the final ascent up to Binagee. I'm amazed this lights has come out again. See Slamish. Yeah, there are definitely some trails of sorts, but sometimes it's hard to find them at certain, coming at them from certain angles. So unless you know they're there, you can miss them easily. So only whenever you get onto a trail, you look back behind it and you go, oh, there's the other part of it. Say trail, we're talking like literally just reused tracks that farmers have used, and you know, so they've just kept going on the same course and worn a kind of semi trail in. This is lovely. I've got enough water. I've got extra water from Harry's Burn in my bag, and I've still got enough nuts I can grab, and then I'll get down in time to be able to enjoy my food that has been in my bag all day. Gorgeous up here, just all these rocks strewn around. It's quite a unique landscape. And again, the views just are so textured, all the light shining down through the haze, Slamish in the background. Lovely. And I feel like this is the sort of the high ground now that like runs through to Binagee, and that there is a trail that starts, I think probably in the over that wee rise there ahead of me, and then that is like the trail that like leads down to Carnlough. It's now, yeah, it was like 5 to 5, so yeah, I think I'll just still bust that out so I'm in Carnlough before the bus, well before hopefully. So yeah, I imagine that would take about less than an hour, 45 minutes if I go now maybe. So yeah, 45 minutes to an hour, I think. It's now 5 to 5. Wow, oh, my knee's a bit tweaked. Oh, my left knee's kind of twiggy. I almost feel it swelling up. And I don't know if it's just from those sticking my leg down one of them holes. Like, I remember like I have tweaked my knee sometimes in my life, and I always got my hypochondriac head on, thinking, oh, I'll never be able to go hiking ever again. But yeah, I think it's just all this undulating. There might be a mixture. It might have been a wee bit to do that, sort of get my leg down a hole. But it's also, this is just so undulating. Like there's most of it's not been on any recognisable trail at all. And you're lucky if you find something that looks vaguely flat. So yeah, it's just all over the place. So it has been an absolute test on the ankles, on the knees, on the fitness in general. Right. Thank you. Thankful for the air in my lungs, blood in my veins. Yep. Right. Binagee, Carnlough, Whitehill Road. The reality is I've tweaked my knee enough and it feels like it's getting swelling up, and there ain't no letting up in this type of terrain. It's actually slowing me down, whereas, you know, it's sort of, I was able to sort of keep up pace when it's especially how we flat bits or whatever. Oh, so I'm hoping, I feel like I'm pushing time. I could work out totally fine, but just for the knee the way it is. Oh, yeah, this is the worst that knee has felt in a long time. And quite often, like, you know, I'd feel a wee tweak or something, and I would just like settle as if it was just settling back in again or something. And it wouldn't come to anything, but this is the most. This is. Oh, every step is not enjoyable. Please, I'm just hoping for some let up. I'm nearly at that last rise of Binagee. I hope I can see that wall, which is sort of connects somehow onto that trail, or at least at some point meets up with that trail. That is the direct way down to Carnlough. So once I meet that trail, set eyes on it, get my feet on it, at least it won't be this type of terrain anyway, and hopefully my knee will take it on. It is swelling up. Oh, that's the worst it's been for a long time. Right, I need to not let this slow me down too much. I just need to at least keep moving at some sort of pace. I cannot be missing that bus to Garron meets up with the train. I think this is the trail. Compared to anything I've walked on today, like it's not anything, but since entering the unmarked bogland upland, that definitely looks more significant than anything else. Please, 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 lead me home. These are the lakes, and this is the path I eventually managed to find. Look at that. The leads in between them. So this is the right track. It's 5:30. I need to just double check the last bus time because I've just memorised it, but that memory could be wrong. So I'll double check that, but I don't think I'm cutting it fine. And actually, once my knee was off those bogs and onto the trail, even though some of the trail was a wee bit all over the place, but just being not in the bog, like my knee was just much happier. Like, look at this. This is the path, and it diverges. Which way? But yeah, like my knee's still mangled, but not being in bog is far better. So yeah, I might literally be straight down to Carnlough, straight onto the bus, and I hope I don't need to pee or poo. I never looked into how long the stopover was at Garron. I'll get stuck into my food. Oh yes, look at that view opening up. Yes, and the trail that the elusive trail. And this is it. I'll just follow this, and this will take me to Carnlough, which is mental because we're like right up in the hills here. But this random little trail, for want of a better word, becomes the Whitehill Road. That is nuts. Oh, I think that's all mussel farms or something out there I can see off the coast. Oh, right, so it should be like should be like 45 minutes or something. Right, just double check the bus times. Awesome. I half thought that the bus time was like 24 minutes past 6 or something like that, but it's actually 25 to 7, so it gives me an extra 10 minutes that it's on that side of it. Not enough time for me to go to the Spar and do what I did last time, which is get a few cold cans of Guinness and then try and convince myself to go straight home. And I'm working tomorrow anyway, and then going out to the bar for my birthday after, so shouldn't be going to the bar tonight, even though like after a day like today, it's like the celebratory thing that I get, and it's like, just want to celebrate. It's like, go to the bar, have pints. Oh, look at that. So different, like looking down over Carnlough, you can actually see it this time. All the wee white houses. Wow, so different. How the weather affects everything, like your experience of everything. It was so magical though last time with the fog, and the fact that I had almost felt like I'd been specially blessed to get up out of the fog and up into the sunshine all those weeks ago. And so much what I needed, and it did help me get through a wee bit. I still ended up just getting back into feeling shit again, so it's not like it changed everything. It almost just gave me something to latch on to and buoy me up for a bit. So yeah, but this is great too, like looking down and actually seeing the town, or the village I should say. Oh yeah, I can see all those spot them where I came at that there from up here on the other side of that wall, and then that totally threw me then as to where I was meant to go. So yeah, and I can see how easy it is actually for that to change things navigationally. Wow. And it's warm. I'm in my t-shirt. My trouser leg's been rolled up nearly all day. So good. So nice when you recognise a gate that was part of your mistake on your last trail that led to a navigational error that took me in through there and all that. I recognise this gate now. I'm going through it and I'm going straight across. Amazing. Wow, and this is one with a nice latch. Quite unique. Burp. Burp. Oh, maybe the other way. This way? Nope. No. Nice. Oh, such a great view. I can actually already hear the dogs, my nemesis. The dogs are... Oh. I'm going to try and be more calm. Like listening back that last video, it was like it sensed the panic in me. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Hoping to dear God it was going to be okay. Oh well, I anticipate it, I know it's going to happen. They're still going to be there, and hopefully they're still going to be locked up, even though I don't like that they're locked up. It's better for me that they are. But it's gorgeous. It's a farm. I may as well record this in case it's my last moments on Earth. Please. My last moments without rabies. Wee lambs though to cheer me up. And the wee lambs. Gorgeous. So I didn't shit myself as much that time because I imagined that he'd be locked up and they're just doing their job. But the way the chain is, it like gets right out onto the track. So my heart actually stayed where it was and didn't jump out of my skin. And there's those wee lambs, which are fucking gorgeous. And it's 2 minutes to 6, so we've got 30, yeah, so like 20 minutes will take me down to Carnlough. Yeah, sort of cutting it fine-ish, but the way my knee was, I was just so delighted that, you know, got that track, and that track, once my knee was on that track, it was way happier, and I could like sort of pick the pace up a bit. And the swallows are buzzing over the fields. I think this is the closest I've been recently to actually being able to say I'm glad to be alive. Close, it's there a bit, and I'm thankful for that. So just getting to experience stuff like that, and the beautiful, seeing the beauty, and some of those places like are as beautiful as anywhere on earth, and you know, you're there on your own, and you could literally just sit there for hours. Yeah, another epic day, another epic hike. Felt like an epic adventure, and yet again it was just a day, and like all with a 4-zone pass that cost 19 quid, and we'll pay for every single bus and train I get today. Fantastic, even like bus home up the road. So I want to do more of that now. Like I've you know, now I can trust myself to actually not drink on a night and be able to get up earlier the next day, so that I can get onto an early bus or train in order to make these mini adventures happen, because I was missing out on these so much, and I think that's a lot of the reason why I ended up in a totally out of whack, lost my balance, get sucked into the dark place. I love this place, all the statues. It's like a robin, blue-tit, kingfisher, fairy and a horse, maybe? All sorts. Amazing.
Past 6.
And there we are, coming out onto Garron. Which means 10 past 6 is like 24 minutes to go. Is that right? Yep. What a lovely feeling. Oh, and the sunlight in the building. It's just so lovely. I'm walking down that trail, post-dog, but seeing all the wee swallows sitting on the telephone wires and the wee lambs in the field. And, oh, it's so nice. Look at that. What a beautiful spot to end a wonderful hike. Sunny Garron. Looking back at that scenario on the bus, and just thinking about the different ways we deal with things like that, and I can imagine, I know this is in me, some part of me that can exist in that space. At least I've experienced it in my life, and it's not there, thankfully, as much as it used to be, but because it would be easy, I'm sure you can imagine, like in that scenario, like almost blaming the bus driver for not asking you where you wanted to get off, or acknowledging your presence, or reading your mind. Can you not read my mind? Do you not know that's where I want to go? As ridiculous as that seems, I'm going to say it now, that's what so many of us do, and I've been there, where it's like you want somebody to read your mind rather than you communicate something. And it's good to be aware of these things and be honest about it, and not take it out on other people and take responsibility for yourself. But there is that part of us that doesn't want to have to communicate, and for me, looking into that, it's probably about communicating a need, and I don't want to present myself as having needs that other people may help meet. So that's the world I come from, a little cocoon of neuroses that I've gestated in for a long time. And even if, you know, and I can also see there's like a kind of a feeling of shame in some ways about being, I would actually feel less shame if I actually expressed the need, even if it was an actual need, you know, but something like that, and it's like, I would like to get off here, could you help me out here? But even other needs, more fundamental needs, and it almost feels like a sense of shame. Like I feel a wee bit of that shame lingering from not having communicated. And well, it's probably a critical voice actually from Daddy-O. Not his, my own version. That criticism, oh, you're stupid that you didn't say something, you're stupid that you didn't speak up. That internal critic, internalized from an external source. And again, it's like, we aren't responsible for the pains in our lives. We're not responsible for things that happen to us, but we are responsible for wherever we are right now. For if we are no longer in those, you know, circumstances, and if we are just almost reliving, keep causing those things to ourselves, but we're responsible for that journey and making that journey. Otherwise, you know, I then take out the blame on a poor bus driver who's then getting all these unresolved feelings from my past being projected onto them. Why were you not reading my mind? I wanted to go to Dungannon and you just drove well past, and you didn't even stop at Glen Irish entrance, and I hadn't even said it was even. That's the complexity of having been born into a world that we didn't choose, and then developing survival mechanisms, defense mechanisms, strategies that were cobbled together when we were sometimes pre-linguistic, before language, and then, but you know, done by a child, cobbled together all these systems and strategies, and it's very hard to unpick those, you know, because they offered us so much in a way of safety or a sense of control, or they gave us something. It's hard to let go of them, and so there's that sense in which you have to die to an old self to let another, you know, come into ascendancy maybe. And there's a mourning that comes with that, and you're mourning that loss in a way for what that part gave us. So thank you to that part that did its best to help me out, to keep my head down, that thought that was the best thing to do, not impose myself, not ruffle anybody's feathers, not get in anybody's way. And thank you for helping me out through all those years. And I bid you farewell. Or not. Right, I need to check. This may well be the Dungannon Way. Bit. Right, this is Dungannon Way. And pretty straight through to Dungannon Reservoir. Amazing. Which is nice. That was a long waffle there. That's what happens when you get onto these forestry tracks. And there's not much else going on. But no, I was reflecting on that. And for me, like that encounter, that dynamic that played out there, and especially that I'm having an awareness of it and I'm able to unpick it a little bit and learn from it. Even if it's not necessarily just learning, but just having an awareness of the different layers in there and the different parts that play into this tiny little dynamic like that. Like that is probably as significant as doing this hike today, as important as this hike is for me, and getting to see these uncharted places for me that are part of a bigger project, like, it is really important to me. But that interaction and dynamic and unpicking it and learning something about it or having an awareness of it, that is as important, if not more important, because that's the stuff that affects every encounter, every relationship. And I don't always do that, you know. It's interesting, like, I'm aware it has been wired into me to not speak up, not raise my voice, and or not want to impose myself or ask for things, not want to annoy people. But you know, I've journeyed with that. I've journeyed with it a bit. I definitely don't say I've made a huge amount of progress, but you know, the awareness is there, and with awareness, self-knowledge, may come some positive changes. And as opposed to, you know, if I could speak to the inner child, the child that created all those strategies. And a lot of those strategies are like, it's like the magician's cloak hiding. It's like, I'm here but I'm not here. I'm here but I can disappear and you won't see me. It's like kind of a camouflage, like keep your head down, don't be seen. And yet there's a yearning to be seen. I think that's probably where that comes from. It's like that part of me that's hiding away, and then there's this other part of me. Then it's like a counterbalance to that. It's like wants to be seen, wants to be heard, wants to be listened to. But yeah, if I can speak to that child and just say, you know, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to work with people. To, you know, it's not. And actually people like helping, as long as you're not being ridiculous, like. But I'm sure that bus driver would have, you know, got a nice wee feeling of, you know, if he'd been able to stop at the side of the road somewhere that was even more convenient for me, right opposite the entrance to the Dungonal Way, which would have been this straight away. You know, he would have, you know, that could have given him a nice wee feeling of like, oh, I helped that guy out. And I didn't give him that opportunity. I just stood there. It's like a fucking totem pole. I have desires and hopes and ideals here, but I'm not going to say any of them. I'm not going to communicate a single thing, and just hope you interpret me standing here as something. So I'm trying to, like, I'm having to, as I'm saying all this, I'm having to, like, keep that critical voice out that's, you know, wanting to say, ah, you're stupid. Why didn't you? All that shit. So it's like being aware that voice is there, you know, set it apart. Just go acknowledge, be curious about why we do what we do. And yeah. Anyway, at least my legs are warmed up now. And I'm on the actual. Right, we started about. That's taken about an hour and a half out, to be honest. It's coming up to 12:30, and I've got 6 hours. Well, it's 6 hours on new terrain, but it's 6 hours on potentially very, very, very boggy terrain. So I'll probably stop at the reservoir, get out things that I need to get out, and reassess things, have a look at the map, and just guesstimate. At least I know that other side leading down to Garron now, from Binagee. So it's basically a matter of getting from Dungonal to Binagee, and then that's kind of, at least I know that, and I know how long that'll take back into Garron. Getting to Glenarm today, that's not going to happen. But that's a non-technical, simple, pretty straightforward section. Anyway, so but yeah, the feeling I'll have if I manage to do what I'm hoping to do today, like just have that bit of terrain, just, you know, have experience of it, have had my feet on it, my eyes on it, and experienced it. Like, you know, looking at future me, that is like, I'll be buzzing. Even I anticipate my feet getting wet. It's going to be boggy. I'll probably put on waterproof socks up here. Yeah, but I'll be buzzing if I end up in Carnlough again, getting the bus, not missing it, and I'll be like, yes, amazing, amazing. And even if I don't, just like the other day at Carnlough, like even if I just ended up, you know, like being out in Carnlough and going up Cranny Water to Cranny Waterfall and going back to the harbour and having a chip or something, it would still be a, you know, a good day out. And for me, even being on this trail, being in Glenariff again, and having been on a train and a bus and had a wee mini adventure already, like even that is enough. Coming out of this corridor of like forestry, and then the scene just opens up at the end, and it's like just the moorlands, that upland moorland, upland heath and bog. It's a whole different world, the liminal world.